MSNBC's Garrett Haake, I understand you just were able to talk with Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway. I want to get that. Let me just also say Ken Dilanian is here following this for us. Garrett, what did Kellyanne have to say?
Chris, at the heart of the New York Times reporting on this issue are what they say are two contemporaneous memos about this. One from General Kelly when he was chief of staff and one from the White House counsel, Don McGahn. I asked Kellyanne Conway straight away whether or not these memos exist. Take a listen. Is there a memo from John Kelly opposing the security clearance for Jared Kushner?
I've never seen that memo. I would just say that I generally don't comment on security clearances.
Why would he tell the New York Times and all these other organizations he's not meddled in that process if it's something that he did approve?
Well, you're going to have to go back to see what the president said. You just repeat it. He has the absolute authority to do that, and he trusts Jared as one of his members of a senior team that's trying to negotiate peace in the Middle East.
So, Chris, bottom line, that's not a no in regards to the existence of these memos. That's a fairly careful answer by someone who has not seen them to find out whether or not they're true or not and to try to stay as far away from that story. And then the second part of her answer is interesting, too. Look, this is something that the president would have had authority to do if he so chose. What makes it strange, aside the fact that we're talking about family members working in the White House in the first place, are all the times the president and those close to him denied it. And that's where we are right now. But it's pretty clear that the White House, with the staff that exists there now, neither of the two men who allegedly wrote these memos still work in the building, don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.